some of my clients have expressed reservations about posting too frequently because they're concerned about repetition. They're worried that they're spamming their clients. So I've heard some figures that in the past it would take up to 12 times for a consumer to come across a brand and finally remember the name of that brand. So 12 impressions would lead to recognition, and that's now increased to 18 impressions because of the advent of social media. So in the past 10 years, the amount of exposure to a brand needs to be greater because of the sheer volume of content that we're digesting on a daily basis.
Well, that's true. And, you know, a good example is our own kids, Johnny. How many times do we need to tell them to get off the Xbox? You know, probably 25 times, you know.
And still not enough.
It's still not enough half the time. So it's just human behavior.
Yeah.
I often get asked this question of how often should we post, and when I say daily would be great, they say, oh, that's just spamming. And it's not spam. Everyone, this word spam really it came about from email campaigns.
Yeah.
And email is very, very different to social media.
Yeah.
And that email is almost intrusive. It's interrupting your day. It comes into your inbox.
Yes.
Whereas with social media, you go to the platform to view. You choose when you go there. It's not interrupting your day. You go when you have free time and you're available to go and do it.
Yeah.
So that very subtle difference means that daily posting does not become spam. And when you think about social media, how many of us actually signed up to be on an email database? Rarely. Rarely. You go and buy something online and automatically you're in the database.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, you can unsubscribe, and people do unsubscribe, but most people aren't unsubscribing. So we get a lot of emails a day. When it comes to social media, that person that chose to follow you or connect with you, they press that like button or that follow button, which means that
they want to see content.
They want to see content from you, but it comes back to value. Don't give them rubbish. Don't say it's Friday. Hope you have a good weekend.
Good point. Make it relevant. Make it useful. The other thing about that, when they have signed up to hear from you, the algorithms are such that they won't actually necessarily see your content. So if you are creating content every day, only 7% to 12% of the people that are following you will see that post. So when you create a post the next day, there's a chance they might see that one if the algorithms detect that that particular bit of content has more relevance and might achieve more engagement that way. So we do need to be frequent to the point that we have a chance of being seen by our followers, and also by, you know, in getting a chance to attract new followers.
And what do we know about the YouTube algorithm? The more content you put up, the more likely they're going to show you.
There's so many features in that algorithm that it's hard to define. One of it is frequency of content. The other is the length of your video. The other is how many likes it gets.
So wait a second, rewind.
Yes.
Tell me about the length of the video.
If you have a video that's greater than 10 minutes, it goes into another filter that then gives it a chance of getting further discovery.
So it's better.
It's better if you can go over 10 minutes in YouTube, someone like YouTube. But if you're going for Facebook or Instagram, they favor shorter form videos.
Now that's really interesting, because I get that question asked along. Well, it's too long. The video is too long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's the length that it needs to be. Why are you putting a restriction on it? And now YouTube is saying, well, we really like long form videos.
Absolutely.
We'll help you out if you give us long form videos. So, Johnny, it's all turning around.
Yeah.
You know, everything we've been trying to say for years, I think slowly people might actually listen to us.
I think so, Silli, but we shouldn't be basing our decisions on algorithms and what the social media
they keep on
platforms
changing.
dictate. They keep on changing, and we don't want to be subject to the will of these large corporate. We don't want to be subject to the will of these large corporations. We should be creating content that we want to create. So that's the message that I wanted to get across today about social media, that it's very important to understand the metrics. It's important to be aware of the algorithms. It's great to have this understanding, create this blueprint for a social media strategy, etc. But don't let anyone else define what that is for you. So everybody's different. Everyone has different objectives, and make sure that you're not basing your content on previous success rates because the algorithm favored that particular type of content. Don't just do it for those reasons. It's great to be able to use it and give yourself a little bit of a boost in viewership, but make sure you're actually happy with the content you're creating and it's actually serving the objective of your brand.
And I always say, give it time. it's not email.
Yep.
When you produce an email promotion, you can measure how many click-throughs and how many inquiries.
Yep.
Social media does not work like that. And understand it's free. You didn't pay a cent to use it.
Good point.
Right? So
and it's a long-term prospect. It's going to take you years to develop a legitimate following.
This is when we talk about frequency and get the snowball rolling. That's what it's like on social media. It's a long-term strategy as far as content. But this raises a point around organic versus paid.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that given the fact that organic posts are being suppressed so much now, and it's only going to increase further as they become more saturated, and they've got no choice but to do this. When you think about it, there's so many people flooding the platforms, they can't possibly share everybody's content to everybody equally. We're going to see a reduction of organic reach further and further, which means that you need to consider sponsoring a post, which means going into the marketing center in Facebook, setting up an ad, and actually paying for that ad to reach your demographic. And the great thing about that is that you can get into really granular detail about your audience. Unlike other platforms, even Google AdWords doesn't have the kind of detail you can get in Facebook and Instagram about the audience, because they know so much about their audience.
Yeah, I reckon that needs to be a specific topic for our podcast, Johnny, just talking about advertising.
Yes.
And how to use a social
Let's flag it for a future episode. We won't continue it today, but we'll definitely bring that up in the future.
So to wrap it up, Johnny, what do you reckon?
To wrap it up, again, I don't think you should be focusing on the metrics, whether it's organic or whether it's on the timeline or sponsored posts. The main thing is that you are happy with the content you're creating. But if you do want to have a chance of getting further reach without having to pay for it, just through natural organic reach, the things you can do is look at your picture quality. So just some small tips here. Really invest in having someone do it for you if you can't do your own photography. Great looking product photos, portraits of your staff members. Have the images stand out and have great impact. Number one, look at introducing more video into your campaigns. So if you're not already doing video, getting some face-to-camera stuff shot. It could be any type of composite of graphics together as a little animation, just videos.
Going live, Johnny.
And that's the other thing I was going to say. If you can go onto platforms like Instagram and go with their live video, what Instagram will do for you,
and Facebook as well,
and Facebook too,
yep.
They will both make an announcement for you to say, Silli is now going live. And that comes on your timeline. It prompts you to go in and see that content. So they're really trying to promote live video more than ever before. You'll get greater reach. It's organic.
And it's authentic.
It's compelling. And it's authentic. People love to see live
love
content.
Live videos.
It's so
easy to do, Johnny.
Use the story. So both Facebook and Instagram have stories mode. And stories, again, they give you further reach by creating a story. If you create a regular post, you can convert it into a story, and that gets seen by another demographic. And check your analytics so that you know the times of day that work for you when you're posting. So there is a little bit of analysis involved, but don't post when people aren't looking. And you'll be able to find that out through your audience, through the actual analytics built into these platforms, and it's all free to do that. So there are a few tips for getting better reach out of your existing audience.
I think they're all very good, valid points there, Johnny.